my Toronto. VK on the beat. Check. I'm in Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm from Toronto where you wanna get the city love. I'm in Toronto like we wanna get the city love. My city love me back for my city love.
Welcome to episode 1543 of Toronto Mic'd. Proudly brought to you by Great Lakes Brewery, a fiercely independent craft brewery who believes in supporting communities, good times, and brewing amazing beer. Order online for free local home delivery in the GTA. Palma Pasta. Enjoy the taste of fresh, homemade Italian pasta and entrees from Palma Pasta in Mississauga and Oakville. The Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team, the best baseball in the city outside the Dome, with 8 championships since 1967. RecycleMyElectronics.ca. Committing to our planet's future means properly recycling our electronics of the past. And Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community since 1921. Today, returning to Toronto Mic'd, hopefully staying dry this time, he's here to kick out the jams. It's Gordon Carpenter. Hey Cam, how you doing, buddy?
Good, Mike. How are you?
So the last time you were on, your debut was July 2020. So the pandemic kind of kicked, the pandemic was in full effect in July 2020. So we recorded in the backyard. And I'm glad you're back, even though we had a couple of remote chats since then. But I'm glad you're back because all I can picture when I think of that episode, and I'll read the description in a minute, it was episode 690, is you were just soaking wet. It was early in my backyard recordings. I hadn't figured it all out yet, and I was just unprepared for the inevitability that one day it would just pour rain. So I'm just going to tell you, I'm sorry that you had to talk to me in the pouring rain in July 2020.
It's fine. It's lovely to be in the studio today and actually see it, because it was COVID when we actually spoke in person the first time. And of course, there's going to be a storm tonight, a torrential storm. So I'm glad we're doing this early. I'm the rain bringer.
Well, we're in the basement now, so let it rain.
Yes.
Let it rain. That's a song right there. Okay, I'm going to read the description. So if people want to go back to hear your Toronto Mike debut, they can go back to 690, and I'll read the description now. But I would think in this jam kicking we're about to do, we're going to learn a lot more about you, Cam.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to this. But I wrote at the time, Mike chats with Gordon Carpenter. By the way, do you prefer Cameron or Cam?
Either or. I sort of like Cameron more formally.
Okay, well then that's what I'm going to call you. Right. Cameron, like in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That was a Cameron, right? Okay.
Yes.
So Mike chats with Gordon Carpenter about his years working with bands and musical artists at MCA, BMG, Sony, and elsewhere. There's great stories about the Tragically Hip, Alanis, Sloan, the Headstones, the Watchmen, some great CanCon there, and more. And we talked for about 90 minutes. And again, in the pouring rain. So this time we're going to stay dry, and we're going to kick out 10 songs you've sent me. And I'm looking forward to learning more about you, Cameron. I almost called you Cam again.
You can call me Cam.
You can call me Al. Okay. Robbie J wrote in. So you made your way from the East End, right?
Yeah.
And traffic was hell.
Awful. You just can't get... Until you hit the Queensway, it's bumper to bumper. No matter where you are, you divert up to Queen. You've got streetcars from King because King's closed. It's just a nightmare.
Be honest with me here, Cameron. Am I the asshole that I insist guests do this in person when you've got that hellish commute? Like maybe I should just say, hey, zoom in and we'll kick out the jams. Am I the asshole? Be honest with me.
No, because I'd rather come here and get Great Lakes beer and Palma Pasta. So it's well worth the trip to Etobicoke.
That's true. So, okay, on that note here, you are getting fresh craft beer from Great Lakes Brewery.
Yeah.
Delicious, as you know, Cameron. And you're going to get it's in my freezer right now, a large lasagna from Palma Pasta. You're going to take that back to the East End with you.
I am, and I'm going to have dinner with my daughter and son-in-law and my two grandkids who got back from Greece last night.
Your grandfather?
3 times.
Okay, I did not see. I'm already learning more about you. How old are these grandkids?
They are 7, 4, and 3 months.
You've been a grandfather for 7 years.
Yes.
All right, congratulations, because you look so youthful.
I'm a senior citizen.
Okay, well, if you get a good discount, then that means
Great on Presto.
okay. No, I'm seeing some positives there. Okay, but the reason I bring up your hellish commute from the east, I'm going to call it the East Coast of Toronto. Rob Johnston.
Yeah.
He wrote in, you should take it on the road and do Cameron's jams from the patio of the Balmy Beach Club.
The finest patio in the city, a private members club since 1905, I think. My dad.
You were just a kid back then.
I was. My father was on the first rugby team there in 1955. He's one of the originals, and he's still alive. They're going to have their what anniversary it is I think their 75th anniversary next year, and there's still like 4 or 5 guys on the team still alive. And then my mom was the first woman member at the Maui Beach Canoe Club. Women weren't allowed to become members until the 70s, and my mom fought for it and became the first woman member and the first woman director.
Okay, that's all amazing. By the way, hello to Cam Brio in the live stream, live.torontomike.com. Hello to Andrew Ward. He said he went to the beaches. I think he's a Mississauga guy, Andrew Ward, but it took him 2.5 hours to get to the beaches. So, by the way, the beach or the beaches? What are we going with now? It's
the beach. Up the beach. It's always been the beach. I've lived there for 65 years.
Okay, Andrew, take a note. None of this beaches bullshit. That's a band, okay? The beaches.
Who grew up in the beach? But.
Okay, Balmy Beach history. J-Ho, our official historian, he loves that history connection. But he also, because he was a guest earlier this week. What a week it's been. Okay. And he says, get that lasagna out now because it's a long time to thaw that baby. So, because best practice would be you put it in the fridge for a day and then make it tomorrow. So if you're making it tonight, I should go run upstairs and get this out of the freezer right now.
Oh, it's fine. And another thing about Balmy Beach Club is they won the Grey Cup twice in the 20s. And one night, Rob and Doug Ford were there honoring the parks commissioner. They had a party for him, and I was talking to both of them, giving them the history of the club and the Toronto Argonauts. Even though I don't agree with their politics, they were in our club, so we'll talk football.
Okay, you can talk football even with these damn conservatives. Okay, so by the way, last time we bump into each other all the time because you're at everything. So
as are you.
But I go to a few things. But if I go to something, you're going to be there because you're at everything. Is that because you can't possibly? You must be at 20 times the things I'm at because I don't actually go to many things, I don't think. But when I do go to something, I will inevitably see Gordon Carpenter.
Yes, well, we saw each other 2 weeks ago on Friday at Mid-Jure.
So what did you think of the show at the Alma Combo?
Fantastic show. And by the way, great interview with Midge. I was so happy to hear him on your show. It was just a great chat with him.
Sweetheart. Yeah.
Great show. I liked the band in the box format. It was fuller than him playing somewhere like Hugh's room with just a guitar. The sound was great. Chuck Circle were fantastic.
I know. So he's also an FOTM, Chris Tate.
Yes.
And I thought Chuck Circle was fantastic. And did you see he was on keyboards?
Jason Snyderman.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Blue Peter's Jason Snyderman, son of Sam, as I call him.
Yes.
So that's cool.
Yeah, and I missed Vieira, unfortunately, who's an old friend. I used to work with her mom, who played violin right at the beginning of the night.
Yeah, I missed that too.
And then I missed 416 or the other band because I was upstairs chatting with Midge, catching up.
Just another handsome guy. We don't need another handsome guy up there, okay? We already have Gordep, okay? So I was actually grabbing an Octopus Wants to Fight with another Cam Gordon, before that show at the Alma Combo. But great to see you. Great to see the Cams together.
Well, I told you that night, my name is Cameron Gordon Carpenter. Yeah. So when Cam was there.
Okay, this is the second Cameron Gordon to be on the program this month. So that's unbelievable. So I'm keen to get to the first jam because we're going to talk between jams, and I have some things I want to talk to you about. But important question here, Cameron. Are you ready to kick out the jams?
I am ready to kick out the jams with the MC5, but we're not actually playing the MC5s.
I Want to Dance Like Fred. Cameron, tell us all about why you chose this song. What's significant about this particular version of this song?
Well, it's the only version of this song, number one. And I think some of your older viewers may remember that as a minor hit on CFNY in the early 80s. It was the first band I ever signed at Quality Records. I had just returned to the label after being fired from the publicity department and going on the road with a band called The Models across Canada. And I was just going through demo tapes for my boss. I had no A&R acumen back then whatsoever. And I heard this tape and it was like, oh my God, this is great. And I played it for my boss and he was like, I don't know about this new wave stuff. And I played it for Bob Segarini and Bob went crazy. God rest his soul. And Bob and I drove out to Oakville, saw the band live. I cut a deal for a 3-song EP and put them in the studio, and Bob produced them and did this. This is the only thing they ever put out, but just a classic
This is the
song.
only version produced of this song.
Yeah, it was released as a 7-inch and a 3-song 12-inch.
Okay, so the one and only version. Here I'm acting like there's multiple versions floating around. Okay,
And it's not streaming anywhere. Like I sent you the MP3. You can't find this song anywhere.
And you might recall that when we lost the great Bob Segarini, and you and I Zoomed for a lengthy conversation about Bob, and I know how tight you were with Bob Segarini. So he's producing this track.
Yes.
Yeah.
And hand
we played it in
clapping
that
and
episode.
singing.
Right. Man, I'm sorry again. Bob Segarini comes up in an episode, so it's kind of funny because normally I drop episodes 2 minutes after we finish recording, okay? 5 minutes after we finish recording. But I actually have an episode in the can that's going to drop tomorrow. It's a celebration, sort of looking back at the origin of Much Music, which launches 40 years ago tomorrow.
Wow.
August 31st, 1984. Much Music goes live at 6 p.m.
At 99 Queen Street East.
Correct. Correct. 99 Queen Street East. Absolutely. And in that episode, there is a brief shout out because we talked about other video shows and stuff at CFMT, etc. But there is a brief shout out to Bob Segarini in that episode. And again, just for those who missed the Ridley Funeral Home Memorial episode when we talked in great length about Bob Segarini, can you give us just a little synopsis of your relationship with the Iceman?
Yeah, I first met Bob when he moved to Toronto from Montreal. I was at A&M Records picking up records to write for the New Music magazine and ran into Bob and we just sort of hit it off and got talking, and he was just going to put out When the Lights Are Out, his Slade cover on A&M. And we just became really good friends. I ended up writing the liner notes for that song and we became family friends. I spent a lot of time at his house. He was a mentor to me. He was teaching me all about music that I didn't know. I was very young. I was like 18, 19 years old at that point. And he was talking about Dewey Phillips and great DJs, and we'd go to movie premieres. Went to the Alan Freed movie premiere. And he just taught me a lot about music. He showed me elephant parts for the first time because he had a VHS. I don't even know if it was VHS. I think it was a 3/4-inch machine in his house. And he just taught me a lot. And we became really, really good friends, especially in the 80s and early 90s. He was an usher at my wedding in 1982.
Wow. Yeah. Gone too soon. Again, my condolences to you. And I'm glad that we could have that lengthy chat. So if people want to hear more words about Bob Segarini, Cameron Carpenter and I are chatting. It's in the Toronto Mike feed. Write me at mike@torontomike.com if you need a direct link, but you can find it in the feed. So what happened with the Rockadillos? Am I saying that name right?
No, the Rockaderos.
Rockaderos. I'm butchering the name of that great new wave band. So that song did get some airplay. I think Pete and Geets might play it because Fred Patterson was the sports guy.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a connection there. I did put it in that episode when we talked about Bob Segarini. But why didn't they make it? Like, why weren't they the next Spoons? What's going on with Rockaderos?
They just sort of fell apart. I think there was internal problems with the band. They didn't want to tour. I think they had day jobs. They just wrote great music, and it just all fell apart. It happens 9 times out of 10.
But that's the first band you signed.
That was the first. My boss signed them, but it was the first one I was directly saying, sign this band.
Okay, exciting. See, we're learning a lot about you. You ready for another jam here?
Let's go.
Africa. Thundermug. Okay, talk to me, Cameron. Educate me.
Okay, they were a band from London, Ontario, who I think I first saw either at my high school or in 1975 opening for Aerosmith at Massey Hall on the Toys in the Attic tour. 3 bigger guys, they wore like coveralls, and the first time I heard this song, it was just like crazy. It was like there's birds in it, there's kazoos, he's talking about hash, they're talking about Zambezi, they're talking about South Africa. You can hear the kazoo solo underneath.
Yeah.
But they were just so heavy. And it's one of my favorite Canadian singles of all time.
Oh.
And it recently came back into my life because I'm helping out, I can't talk too much about it, on a documentary.
Now you have my attention.
Of a 70s Canadian rock documentary I'm sort of consulting on about.
And you can't give us any tease, any hints?
Not my place. I'm just consulting right now. When we get a little further, I might put someone else on the show who you really enjoy talking to about the film when it gets closer.
Is this the Thunder Mug deep dive we didn't know we needed?
Exactly. So it's going to be about the Guess Who and Streetheart and Flood and all the great bands who toured Canada back in the 70s. And this was one of the best, in my opinion.
Okay, so I'm, again, a bit younger than you. I don't yet get the seniors discount. I'm getting there, okay? I'm getting there. But I can honestly say I don't think I've ever heard this song in my life.
It just came on the streaming services about 2 years ago. It was really hard to get. I still have the 45, but now you can stream this song, so.
Thundermug. What a great name, though.
Yeah.
Thundermug. Okay, I'm all about the Thundermug now. Okay, excellent. So this is a 70s band. What happened with Thundermug? Do we know?
They broke up for about 10 years. They went from a 4-piece to a 3-piece, broke up for about 10 years, got back together for a little while, and just sort of faded away into obscurity.
Well, I hope you didn't, say all your words about Bob Segarini when I was asking you. I should have looked ahead at what might be coming. So let's kick out another jam, and then you're gonna share more words about your late great friend Bob Segarini. Here we go.
Dancing in the afternoon, listening to records on the radio, but we can't understand the words. I remember when I was a boy, I could recall every phrase and rhyme of every song I ever heard. But now all the words seem to run together. Seems to make too much sense. It's a synthesized mess. I gotta have fun. Don't let it stop. I gotta have fun. Wouldn't it be sharp to get some life in the charts? Think of the fun we could use some pop music to start. I love the Beatles up to Sgt. Pepper, and the ruined Papa what could be forever, but it's never too late to hold. So all you fellas with guitars in your hands, you gotta lead us to the promised land. Thought it was to give you too much road. Now all of the words seem to run together, and none of it seems to make too much sense. It's a synthesized mess. I gotta have fun. Don't let it stop. I gotta have fun. Wouldn't it be nice to get some life in the charts? Think of the fun we could do some pop music to start. I gotta have fun. Yeah.
Cameron, I let it run a little longer because does it ever sound good in the headphones? Gotta Have Pop by Bob Segarini.
Yeah, it was the first song on his debut album on Bomb Records, and I was peripherally involved. I watched as he signed with Wolfgang and Phil at Bomb and got the artistic freedom to do this album. I was in the studio while he was recording it, hanging out. And if you look on the inner sleeve, it says, for a great enchilada recipe and fan club information, send $3 in a self-addressed stamped envelope to Cam Carpenter, 4 Andale Road, Toronto, Ontario, which was my mom's house where I was still living. So And it was on.
Did anyone do that?
Oh yeah, I probably got like 30 of them from around the world.
Okay, that's a great idea. Just to see who's engaged. Okay.
Yeah, and it was on bubblegum vinyl, and in the second album, on Goodbye LA, there's a picture of me and one of the producers. So and I always got thanks on those albums. So all Bob's albums are close to my heart.
It's great pop song, like gotta pop it. It's got that switch into glide kind of vibe going on. Like it just sounds great in the cans.
Yeah, exact same era, same time. So the production values were the same. It was recorded on tape, and yeah, it's of that era, and has a great line. I love the Beatles up to Sgt. Pepper. Then they ruined pop for what could be forever, because they changed from a band writing 3-minute pop songs to an experimental band who were finding their way and changing music forever.
Love it. Now, the first time I brought up Bob Segarini, I mentioned that he gets name-checked in the episode that will drop tomorrow. So we're recording this on Friday, August 30th, 2024. It's like 2:21 p.m. in the afternoon. If you're watching live, you know that. But tomorrow morning, which is Saturday, August 31st, 2024, I'm going to drop an episode where we look at the origin story of Much Music. Like, how did we get there? And that was 40 years ago tomorrow that Much Music launched. And Cameron, because Bob Segarini was name-checked in this Much Music tribute, if you will, I'm just curious what you were up to. Like, what kind of a game changer was Much Music when it launched in 84? Like, from where you were at? Like, where were you at in 84? And what kind of a, game changer was that?
84, I was still at Quality. I was there till 86. But it was a huge game changer because music became visual all of a sudden. There was no YouTube or anything like that. And, bands like Roman Holiday from England, who we couldn't give a record away, they were a fantastic band. Much would pick up their video, and all of a sudden things would take off. Or Flock of Seagulls I was working with at that point as well. The Spoons I was working with at that point. It changed a lot of lives, and it changed a lot of Canadian bands' career trajectory forever.
Suddenly you needed to be as handsome as a young Rob Bruce.
There you go. Or Derek, or as beautiful as Sandy, or...
I'm picking on Rob only because he'll be here later in mid-September, so I'm picking on... But we already gave Gord Depp the show. But yeah, Sandy Horn, the first crush of many a Gen Xer in this market.
And a hell of a bass player.
Yeah. I saw her actually... I guess a couple years back, I went to Oakville to see Rob Bruce perform live, and Sandy Horn was there to do some stuff with Rob, and it was good to see her again. She's an FOTM, but always pleasurable to lay eyes on the great Sandy Horn. But speaking of Much Music, we saw Michael Williams at that mid-year show.
Yeah, he was DJing in between sets and stage announcing, and actually he just moved to the East End as well. He's now
I didn't know that.
He's in the beach.
He's in the beach now. There's an on the live stream. J-Ho says that the beaches is what a lot of us call it because it's a collection of smaller named beaches. You got your Woodbine, your Kew, your Balmy, your Silver Birch. So these are beaches, but of course you locals know it's the beach.
It's one long beach. If you were born there, people who call it the beaches, we call blow-ins. Well, they moved in later. So.
Or we never got. We rarely get there. So we're on the West End.
You had to go to Malvern, Balmy Beach, Courcelette, St. John's, St. Dennis. If you were Catholic, Neil McNeil. Like you had to grow up in that. That was the beach hood.
Gotcha. No, I love it. Now. A question came in for you from on Twitter. He's credited, I don't know why I assume gender. I have no idea the gender of the person known as This Is a Music Show. See, because I'm a guy, I'm assuming This Is a Music Show is a guy. What do I know? What does Cam know about the cover of Kraftwerk's Tour de France, credited to a group called 10 Speed that appeared on the K-Tel Breakdance LP? It was apparently made in Toronto at the behest of Quality Records for inclusion on the K-Tel LP, since Kraftwerk were not going to license it. The track appears in the Breakin' movie, but not on the soundtrack LP. Cam was working with John Driscoll at the time doing A&R for Quality.
Yes, I remember that record well. John was a big disco guy, and he started a company with Ray Caviano in New York, who was also a big disco guy, called Quality RFC Records. And what they used to do is they'd go to Medam and they'd hear these great disco records, or they'd be shipped them. And we did a deal with Don Was, believe it or not, in Sound Suite Studios in Detroit. We would send him the tracks. He would come up with a band, and we'd put it out as a cover song with a different band's name. and get it to the market before the imports hit in North America. It was brilliant.
Your game. Okay.
It was absolutely brilliant. And there was Slipshot. There was all sorts of, there was a Do It Again Michael Jackson medley that we did. There was some great quality RFC 12-inch dance records, which I still have most of. So
one day, I'd hate to make you come back to the West End, but one day we should just kick out these like quality songs and talk about all these kind of interesting quality singles, etc.
Sure.
That's right up my alley. Okay.
That was a great question, though. Thank you.
See, that's a person who knows, that they have the right guy on the right show, and to finally, he's probably been thinking about that since the early 80s or whatever. He's been thinking about that, and now he has an answer.
And probably had no idea that Don was involved in doing that.
So, and you know what's funny? I'm thinking now of Wikipedia editor Rosie Gray Teo, who hears these nuggets on Toronto Mike and then adds that detail to Wikipedia, so it's part of the public record. Like, we're doing something important here, Cameron. Very important.
Excellent.
Yes, okay. All right, let's kick out this one here. Woo! Big jam alert.
Jesus died for somebody's sins, but not mine. Milton, pot of thieves, wild cord of my sleeve, thick heart of stone. My sins my own, they belong to me. People say beware, but I don't care. The words are just rules and regulations to me. I walk in a room, I look so proud. I'm moving this year's more fear, where anything's allowed. I'll go to this here party, I just get bored until I look out the window, see this wee young thing hopping on the parking meter, leaning on the parking meter. Oh, she looks so good. Oh, she looks so fine. And I got this crazy feeling, and then I'm gonna make her mine. Oh, put my spell on her. Here she comes, walking down the street. Here she comes, going through my door. Here she comes, crawling up my stair. Here she comes, wasn't through the hole in a period dress. Oh, she looks so good. Oh, she looks so fine. And I got this crazy feeling, and I'm gonna make my mind. And I hear this knocking on my door. Hear this knocking on my door. And I look up at the big tower clock and say, oh my God, it's midnight. And my baby is walking through the door, laying on my couch. She whispers to me, and I take the big plunge. And oh, she was so good. Ooh, oh, she was so fine. And I'm gonna tell the world that I just made up mind. I said, darling, tell me your name. She told me her name. She whispered to me. She told me her name. And her name is, and her name is, and her name is, and her name is
Love it, Cameron. Tell me about Gloria.
Gloria from Patti Smith's debut album, Horses, which is still my #1 desert album, Island. Absolutely brilliant record. If there was one cultural scene I loved the most, it was New York in the 70s. It was Warhol, it was the Chelsea Hotel, it was the rise of Max's Kansas City, CBGB's, television, Patti Smith, Robert Mapplethorpe, the Ramones, and Patti was just at the epicenter. Like the cover picture on that album that Robert Mapplethorpe took was fantastic, iconic. There's a book called Just Kids that she wrote a few years ago that talks about that scene. And I saw Patti in 76 for the first time at Seneca with Sparks, one of my greatest double bills of all time. I'm a huge Sparks fan as well. And then in 1996, I had the honor of actually working with Patti at the labels around Dream of Life? I think it was Dream of Life. No, Gone Again, sorry. And she was in town doing radio interviews at CBC, and she had a guitar player, Oliver Ray, with her and doing the rounds. And when we finished at the CBC, we went back to the hotel, and I think it was David Gilmour interviewed her, and she said, that's one of the best interviews I have ever done in my life. That was fantastic. So hats off, David. Woo! And then she said, you know what? I'd like to just show up at a club tonight and play and surprise everyone. Can you make that happen? And I said, yeah, just give me a couple hours and I'll get back to you. And we weren't using cells that much back then in 96. I had one, but... So I ran up to the Rivoli, and I think it was Carson who was booking it at that point, Carson Foster. And I said, what do you think of Patti Smith coming tonight at midnight, just coming in the back door and doing half-hour set with her guitar player? It was like, sure. And then at 12 o'clock, we opened the back door, Patti walked on stage, and it was just one of those great little rock and roll moments that I lived for.
That's amazing. You were a part of that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Love that story. And so you're on a desert island. You can only have one album. This is the album.
Well, I usually take 3. So.
Are we going to hear cuts from the other 2?
No.
Okay, then you have to tell me what they are.
Oh, it would probably be Television Marquee Moon and probably Indiscreet by Sparks.
Okay, amazing.
They make me laugh.
How come these songs didn't make your top 10 here?
Well, I didn't know.
I'm asking the tough questions here,
I didn't know
Cameron.
the premise, and I just thought I'll go all over the board here and a little bit of everything. And of course, I'm going to put a couple clients in here too. I'm going to do a little PR. I'm working
it's in your blood. It's in your blood.
Exactly.
And it's okay. I'm happy to help. So let's kick out another jam.
All right.
So so much left inside. I'm hiding from you. The city felt so old, but now seems brand new.
Speaking of jams that sound good in the headphones, The World Is Yours, Jay Sparrow.
Yeah, when he sent me this, it was like, listen to this on headphones. When you listen to the demos, like you have to listen on headphones. So I think this is an absolutely beautiful song. It's from his new album called Hard 8, which is his 8th solo album. And it's about his fiancée, Michelle. And he's getting married tomorrow to Michelle in Edmonton. And he actually, because he's a co-owner of Sea Change Brewery and Shitty's Distillery. That's 2 Ds, so I'm not swearing.
You can swear on this program, but that's a shitty.
I don't like to swear, for the most part. And he actually proposed with a "Will you marry me" beer because he owns the brewery and had her
course, he
picture
can do
on
that.
it. And it's just a gorgeous song.
So tell me more about Jay, though. Like this is a new music from Jay Sparrow, but I'm Jay Sparrow ignorant.
Yeah, I met Jay probably close to 20 years ago at CMW in the lobby of the Royal York Hotel when I walked by and I noticed this like cool, punky, Jack White looking kid wearing the same creepers that I was wearing. So I immediately started a conversation with him. He was sitting with a great video director, Michael Maxis, who worked with Billy Talent and millions of other bands. And we just totally hit it off. He ended up moving to the beach. Okay, it's the all beach episode today. And he was in a punk band called the Murder City Sparrows, and they all lived in one apartment on Queen Street East. And they were looking for management, so we started managing with my partner then, Todd Arkell, and then Jay. We did a couple of Murder City Sparrow records. Gordy Johnson produced. And then Jay just up and left and started working with Rain Maida on different apps and music things, and went and opened a restaurant on the West Coast. Finally settled in Edmonton and just kept putting solo albums out during the course of his whole career. But it's not he just makes records for himself now. So he also won the CBC Great Canadian Song Quest as well many years ago. So he's just a great friend, and I wanted to shout him out on his wedding day tomorrow.
And great music. Congratulations on your wedding, Jay. So Jay owns a craft brewery?
Yeah, Sea Change Brewery, which is
it's in Edmonton?
Edmonton and Calgary. They have houses now.
At some point I'll find myself in Edmonton again, and I'm going to seek it out.
Yeah, I've never tried the beer because you can't get it in Ontario, but it seems like very...
You got to do exchange. You got to bring
Great Lakes there.
Great Lakes beer to Edmonton, and then swap it out for some shitty... It's tough to say that word with the D's, right? Because my D's and T's sound the same anyways.
But that's their distillery. So now they make gin and vodka.
Gotcha.
They're just coming out. But I think they have the same aesthetic as Great Lakes. When you look at their cans and their names and stuff like that, it's very cool. So, hey, if anyone Great Lakes, go take a look at Sea Change, and Sea Change, take a look at Great Lakes.
Look, trust me, the guys at Great Lakes, any excuse to go visit like another craft brewery, and they'll make a trip to Alberta and do a collaboration or something. For sure. Mike Lackey's probably booking a flight right now. Although knowing Lackey, he's going to try to bike there. I don't know how long a bike ride that is. But by the way, Cameron, we're speaking at almost the very end of August 2024. That means a couple of things. But one is, I can tell you, by the end of tomorrow, which ends the month, I will have biked 1,500 kilometers on Toronto and Mississauga streets in the month of August 2024. 1,500 kilometers.
I saw that you broke your record.
That's amazing. I've never cleared 1,400, but I'm absolutely going to clear 1,500 this calendar month, and I'm here to pat myself on the back and say I couldn't believe it when I first cleared 1,000 in a month, and now I'm hitting 1,500, and I'm kind of mind blown because I'm also kayaking. So,
wow.
What the hell? Am I getting any work done, Cameron?
You must have the thighs of a stranger, to quote Canadian rock band.
You've got the thighs of a stranger. Love it. Jay Sparrow, way to kick that one out. By the way, since I mentioned that the month is ending, this is the last live episode of August, because I have one in the can that will drop tomorrow. That's the 40th anniversary of Much Music episode, a big surprise, special guest, blah, blah, blah. But that means this is the end of the seasonal sponsorship for Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. The season is over for the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team, but I'm just here to tell you, Cameron, okay, you don't care, so who knows what I'm going to call you.
CC.
Glad I'm calling you CC. I like CC. CC DeVille, that was Poison, right?
You got it.
Pick up that guitar and talk to me. Oops. That book is yours. That's the history of Toronto Maple Leafs baseball. It's such a fascinating history, and they play at Christie Pitts. And I'm here to tell you, Cameron, in 2025, we need to hook up at, that sounds dirty, but it's not. We need to hook up at Christie Pitts when I record live there during these Toronto Maple Leaf games, because it's amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to do that. And I thought about it this year, but the Sundays didn't work. But that's a subway hop. That's easy.
That's easy. You get off at Christie Station. It's a short walk. I did that subway ride for the playoff game, which, again, we got swept in the first round. So welcome to Toronto Maple Leafs anything. But I think we're going to be better in 2025. I love the manager of this team, Rob Butler.
Yeah, he used to play for them at one point, did he not?
He played for the Toronto... Yeah, he actually has the record for the highest batting average in a season in all of the IBL, the Inter-County Baseball League. Almost 500, I want to say. Something ridiculous. But, yeah, his brother played for the team as well, Rich Butler. Those are East York baseball legends.
I played for East York when I was a kid, so...
Okay, it's all coming... I think Troy Birch at Great Lakes, I think he coaches at with the East York League there now.
It's still going strong. My next-door neighbor's kids play for it. And I'm a huge baseball fan. My grandparents moved to Detroit in the 60s when the Toronto Telegram went down. He was a typesetter and went to the Detroit Free Press.
Tiger Town.
Yeah, so I became a Tigers fan until the Expos came along. Then my dad and I used to do a fishing trip to north of Montreal, Lac Saint Jean every year, but we'd go in early and go to Jerry Park and see an Expos game.
Amazing.
And we went to the CNE Stadium the first year of the Blue Jays,
77.
and I was there the night that George parked it. Touch 'em all, or Joe Carter.
Yeah, it's okay. Joe Carter, FOTM Joe Carter. I saw Rob Butler tweeting today. He was upset Joe Carter's not in the Hall of Fame. And then I'm like, just dig in a little, you'll see. But that guy was money for 30 home runs and 100 RBIs in a season, that Joe Carter. You could just bank on it.
Yeah, and one of the greatest sporting moments to watch live in my life, to see it.
What was your vantage point? Like, where were you sitting? Not that it matters, but
119, row 31,
Jesus.
like looking towards.
How loud was
pitcher.
that building? I don't even know. Like, I saw it on TV, and I the moment it's out, you realize it's over. You won again, second year in a row. We're World Series champions. Everything after that's a blur to me. It was just went bananas. I can't imagine being in the dome for that.
Well, I remember the crack of the bat and seeing it. And it was going towards left field, and it's like, oh my God, if this stays fair, it's over. It's a walk-off. And then it just erupted.
And it kind of looks like it's hooking foul.
It was going that way, especially because we were looking straight down to left field. Like we were looking straight at the pitcher.
Yeah.
In the MCA record seats.
Mitch Williams on the mound.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Working for MCA. That's a Leonard Skinner gym.
Yeah, and then, everyone was nuts. We stayed there for about a half hour, and then I knew the owners of Gretzky's very well, the Bitto family, and we got into Gretzky's and partied there after the game. So
I just can't believe what I'm hearing here. That is the greatest moment in Toronto sports history, is that Joe Carter walk-off. So in the 93 World Series. Amazing. Yeah. When I played the Tom Cheek call of that home run for Joe Carter, he mouthed it like it was a song. Like he just mouthed the whole thing. He's probably had that played for him a million times, take or leave a few, but what a moment. And Jays haven't won the World Series since.
No. And my friend Steve Poltz, I don't know if you know him, great singer-songwriter, was in the Rugburns in San Diego. He was Jules' boyfriend, co-wrote Do You Remind Me? Oh, we have to get Steve on here next time he tours through.
You had me at Jewel.
He has a song called A Brief History of My Life, and when he does it live, he has tape recordings. He talks about great sports announcers, baseball, Joe Buck and Ernie Harwell.
See you tomorrow night. Yeah, Ernie. Absolutely, the Tigers guy. Yeah, absolutely.
So he plays those samples, and he does the Touch 'em All Joe Tom Cheek call as well. So check out Steve Poltz. Lots of great music.
We'll get him in here, and I will play that. And it all sounds amazing to me. So just to put a bow on the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball that's it for 2024. Hope to be back celebrating Toronto Maple Leafs baseball in March, or we'll see next season, and look forward to giving out more of these great books. But so you're the last recipient of the Toronto Maple Leafs history book in 2024.
Excellent. It'll go in the library beside my book of the history of the Blue Jays first season, or How Baseball Came to Toronto, I think it's called, that book that my dad bought me. So
love it.
Yeah.
Okay, we almost had the Giants. There was a period of time in the, mid-70s when it looked like we might have the San Francisco Giants.
Yeah.
So, great history there.
Yeah.
Are you into country music?
Sure.
Okay, so
look at my shirt.
Yeah. Well, Steve Earle crosses over, right?
Yeah, but he started as a country artist.
Sure, of course. But I was listening to Steve Earle on Q107, right? Mm-hmm. It's in Copperhead Road and all that stuff. Yeah. And of course, Waylon on the Wire. This guy's the real deal. This Steve Earle, big fan of this guy. But there's a station in town. It used to be, for a long time, it was Flow 93.5, and then they flipped to something they called Today Radio. If you heard a Mark Weisblatt episode back when he would come on every month, we both wondered what they were thinking and how can this succeed? This can't possibly work. And a couple of years later, it's flipping to New Country 93.5. And I'm thinking you must have a lot of experience with radio in this market. We talked about Much Music earlier, but can a new country station, succeed in Toronto in 2024? You don't have a crystal ball, but what are your feelings on that?
Very much so. When they first tried it, I forget what was it, Kiss Country?
Yeah, Kiss, 92.5, yeah.
Everyone in the city had a Kiss mug with Hershey Kisses in it. It was a great promotional ride.
Mugs and kisses.
Yes, but the music was different back then, and I think I talk about this quite a bit to friends. Like if you listen to Jelly Roll, or you listen like Post Malone or Hardy, or there's some great rock country stuff coming out right now, and it's all crossing over. And there's some amazing records, and I think the timing is absolutely perfect to have a country music station in Toronto.
But I'll be curious if they do play that stuff, because you could play the cover of Fast Cars or whatever, and people are going to like it or whatever. And the guy, I can never remember how to say his name. I won't even try. Shabuzi?
Yeah.
Am I saying that right?
Shabuzi. Yeah.
I sound like an old guy. I'm Steve Buscemi with the skateboard or whatever. Hey, hello, fellow kids. Shabuzi, whatever. But, I'll just stick with the old staple, Little Nas X, okay?
Yeah.
But I wonder what flavor of country. I feel like it might go older. Just some chatter I've had with some people. It might not be that new country stuff. We'll see.
But I don't think you're going to hear Hank Williams or Little...
No, but it might be it could be a lot of Garth Brooks. Which would be fine, I think, but maybe that kind of stuff.
I think you'll like Kenny Chesney.
Okay.
Trace Atkins, probably a little more modern. Maybe it'd be great if they played Copperhead Road. It'd be great if they played Jack White and Loretta Lynn.
Yeah. No, that was a great song. Absolutely. Woo, the mountain tops. That was great.
It'll be interesting to see how they do it. It's like Indie 88 does a nice mix of new alternative and classic alternative. So if they can do that in the country station, more power to them. Stay
tuned. New Country 93.5. I think it debuts on Tuesday. But let's kick out another Gordon Carpenter jam. They should play this on the New Country station.
They could.
Years old, I'm bored and tired and horny and stoned. I'm listening to the Pixies on the radio in my car. I'm missing you, I'm missing me, I'm missing them, hard to believe. It's been so long since 1984.
When much music debuted.
I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone. I'm listening to the Clash record playing, and I'm scratching at my head and saying, where all the good times gone? I won't hear you calling on the telephone, I'm already gone.
Another FOTM jam. We heard Bob Segarini. That's an FOTM jam. Ken Tizzard.
My friend Ken, who I do publicity for. I'll be totally upfront with you.
Yeah, you need to disclose that. Of course you do.
Yeah, but I love this song because I think we've all been there. We've all gone to pick up the phone to call someone, and they're gone. And you remember listening to a Clash record with them or a Pixies record or going to see Thundermug, and they're not there. And Ken's also in The Watchmen. That's how I first knew Ken, and then he went and played with Thornley. You can listen to the Ken episode. But it was interesting. He did an AI video for this. Jay was on his show, the Whiskey Wednesday show, which Ken does live every Wednesday night on YouTube at 8 p.m. And Jay had done an AI video for his single that we just played. So Ken thought, why not? I'm not going to spend a lot of my money out of my pocket on, the fourth single on the DAG sessions. And did an AI video, which is great. And then last week, he has a song called Chemo Brain that's a 41-second instrumental. He asked his fans to send him the prompts if they were doing the AI video, and they basically built another video for him, which I just think is really cool. So,
I think Ken's really cool, and you're right. He's got the bona fides. He's with the Watchmen, of course. I think I'm still missing Joey. I have 3/4 of the Watchmen are FOTMs.
There you go.
But no Joey yet for some reason.
Well, maybe you can get him because they're playing at Danforth Music Hall in November. The Watchmen. They just announced their show there. So
I'm a big Watchmen fan, and I like them personally too. Danny Graves made a long drive to sing live at one of my events, TMLX. I don't know which one it was now, TMLXX, I think. So at Great Lakes Brewery in Southern Etobicoke, Danny Graves is singing a cappella Under the Night Sky. It was unbelievable. Sammy Cohn is a dear friend of the program. He gave me this Brian Linehan picture telling me the Watchmen... from the Watchmen, telling me that Brian Linehan would be proud of me.
How could you ask for a higher compliment? And I think it was Sammy you were talking to when I was first suggested as a guest, and Sam said, yeah. I think it was Sam and Mark Weisblot, 2 names we just dropped.
Sounds about right. Okay, so love the Watchmen, and Ken Tizzard. I wish that the New Country station was cool enough to play something like that.
Yes, we'll have to find out who the program director is. I'll get working them.
Maybe call up Wayne Webster or something. Somebody's got some pull.
Who lives in the beach? Of course he does.
Too many beach people. Shout out to Bob Willett, who's also he's like on the Danforth.
He's upper beach, way upper beach. But
We'll call that way upper beach. Absolutely. I like that song too. That Already Gone. I like that sound. I like Ken. And one day I got to get Ken though in the basement. We had to. He's out living up north, right? So we zoomed him in.
Yeah, he's out in Campbellford. So unless he's in Toronto doing something, he's a caregiver for his wife as well. So he doesn't get, he just doesn't hop in the car for.
Which is why I was happy to, unlike you, Cameron, I let him zoom in. I'm like, no, Cameron's making the trek across the city. Absolutely. I wanted to ask you about the Oasis reunion. Do you care? Do you find you following this closely? You're a big music fan.
As I said to someone the other day at Betty's, I saw the Tackle show. I'm fine. And I've seen them quite a few times. And the last time I saw them at whatever the arena's called now, Air Canada Centre. I bet it was Air Canada Centre. I was more excited because it was the first show in Toronto from the Arctic Monkeys.
Oh, yeah. That would be exciting.
And that was a great show. But Oasis, they write good songs. I find the two of them boring. They're not very happy, and they support Manchester City, and I'm an Arsenal guy, so I really don't care about the reunion. But I'm hearing August 24th, 25th, Downsview. That's the rumor going around.
That is definitely floating around. What would be capacity for a show like that? Do you have any sense? I
think they could do like 300,000 up there if they open it up.
The Pope has been there, right? How many did the Pope get?
SARS stock, Rolling Stones and AC/DC and everyone else. So
that's wild. Okay. Stay tuned, everybody.
And they're not that great live. They're kind of boring. So
a ringing endorsement from Cameron Carpenter.
Yeah, sorry. Bring back the Arctic. If as someone else said, if there's Cranky Brothers you want to bring back together, bring Ray and Dave Davies back together in the Kinks tour. So.
Love it. Okay, let's kick out another jam.
All right.
Another FOTM jam.
Liquors touching red lips in between Irish coffee sips. Are you ticklish? She quips, desiring to feel satiated, but she finds it hard to articulate it. Black licorice touching red lips. Have you seen her looking devilish? He ends up speaking only gibberish, desiring to be elevated, but he finds it hard to articulate it. It doesn't matter if they all know what you're up to. It only matters that this guy's in love with you. How many revolutions until the conclusion that you want justifies the looks that you flaunt.
You introduced me to this gentleman who does not live in the beach, but lives near me here, and he's a Mimico guy here now. But talk to me about James Clark.
Okay, this is, James, who lives down the street. His new single, Black Licorice Red Lips, he's playing a little further west tomorrow night at the Moonshine in Oakville.
And that's where I saw Sandy Horn last with playing with Rob Bruce.
It all connects, doesn't it? It's crazy. And then he's doing September 21st upstairs at the Elmo Combo. Wow. So
upstairs.
Doing Saturday night upstairs at the Elmo. He's played downstairs a couple times. He's had his birthday party there. So he's got the big room upstairs. So I'm really looking forward to that on the 21st. And of course, produced by FOTM Mo Berg, this record.
And I liked his music very much, James, and I liked him very much. And the conversation happened because of you. So thanks for saying that up.
There you go.
Very cool. And do you frequent near here whenever you're forced to come in this neck of the woods, maybe to see James or to see me, whatever? What about that Village vinyl shop that's on Lakeshore near Islington? Have you ever frequented that vinyl shop?
I have not. I don't go into a lot. I have a lot of vinyl at home. I don't collect anymore. I still have it. And it's just like, I can't. I just can't.
But at least you can play your vinyl. Like, I actually have nothing in this home that plays vinyl.
I don't play it at home. I just have it from years of collecting it and being at a record company, having thousands of records.
Well, sell it to Alan Zweig, okay? He's always looking for rare vinyl, that guy.
Yeah.
So
I've got a catalog. It was in storage for a while, and I just got it all out. So I have to put it all together. But yeah.
Ivor Hamilton just moved to I don't know, Grimsby or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, somewhere near there. So he had like a whole truck just for the vinyl.
Yeah, it was a huge move.
I'd be like, I'm selling this. Alan, get over here. Whatever you want,
Yeah.
make me an offer. I don't know.
No, I'm tired of moving it. So, but
There could be a fire sale soon.
yeah. Although I saw the Rockaderos record online for $36 the other day. It's just like,
You don't have a copy.
No, I do.
Oh, you
I
do?
thought
Okay.
maybe there's $36
Oh,
coming my way.
That's funny. Okay. James Clark, good FOTM. So in the Toronto Mike feed, you can find an episode with Ken Tizard. You can find an episode with James Clark. You can, of course, find an episode with Bob Segarini. Yes, of course. Producer Mo Berg. Multiple episodes with Mo Berg, who's now doing lots of fun stuff with the Trans Canada Highwaymen, which they sound great. So Mo, by the way, like yourself, senior citizen.
Yes, he's 3 months older than I am.
Okay, he's from Edmonton.
He is.
There you go.
Just outside of Edmonton.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's like when someone says, I'm from Toronto. I'm like, oh, yeah, whereabouts are you? And then they tell me they're in like Markham. And I'm like, do you know who you're talking to? That's not Toronto.
Yeah, this is more like the Scarborough of Edmonton. Like Mo's like, it's part of Edmonton.
Oh,
so,
yeah, okay. It's only if your mayor is the mayor of Edmonton, it counts.
Yeah.
Hey, actually, let me kick out another jam before I ask you about what I think was an omission last time you were over. And again, what's this experience like compared to being in the pouring rain in the backyard? Is this better?
It's comfortable. It was kind of fun and memorable being there trying to hold up 2 umbrellas.
Yeah.
Keep my beer dry.
It was quite a scene, and I did feel terrible. And then I made it right after your episode. I made adjustments. Like, okay, I can't have this happen again. You were like sort of a guinea pig, and I made adjustments. But it was memorable, and it was kind of neat to be out there. And you never know what's going to happen with Mother Nature. Down here, we know unless there's a power outage, it's just we're going to just be fine, and that's kind of boring, right? Like, come on, we need some excitement.
No, it was an adventure. I enjoyed it.
Okay, good. Let's kick out another jam.
She's a very kinky girl, the kind you don't take home to mother. She will never let your spirits down once you get her off the street. Oh, girl. She likes the boys in the band. She says that I'm her all-time favorite. When I make my move to her room, it's the right time. She's never hard to please. Oh, no. That girl is pretty wild now. Girls are super freak. The kind of girl you read about. In magazines. That girl is pretty kinky. Girls are super freak. I really love to taste her. Every time we meet. She's alright. She's alright. That girl's alright with me. Yeah.
Rick James. I want to do a Dave Chappelle right now, but I won't. Okay. Rick James, Super Freak.
Yeah. Well, as you know, and I think I was Motown label manager for 8
Okay,
years.
that's the missing link. After we recorded, I realized we didn't have a chance to dive into the whole Motown part of your career.
And this is part of it with Rick. So I was the product manager for Canada, which means you're the person at the label who deals with their LA office, their international office. They send you all the new releases. You decide what's coming out, what's not. You do tour publicity. You go on the road with them, stuff like that. So Rick, unfortunately, couldn't come to Canada around the time of Street Songs because of an army issue and being...
Well, he was a draft dodger.
He was a
That's
draft
how he ended
dodger.
up here with the minor birds and all that. Right?
Yes, back in the day. So he could never get back into Canada. So we never had the luxury of seeing a Rick James show up here. But Larry McRae, who worked at Motown before I did and still one of my dearest friends, he started a tradition of taking journalists down to Rick's house in Orchard Park. So he would take them down every year, and Rick liked Beck's beer, which he couldn't get in Buffalo at that point. So you put a case of beer in the car, you go down, take some journalists down. So I followed that tradition. I took Jeannie Becker down to the house.
Wow, speaking of Much Music's 40th.
There you go. And Norman Otis Richmond, who was a great Canadian urban journalist, and just to hang out at Rick's house while he did interviews in this incredible house in Buffalo, which was one of the first 15 houses that ever sold for more than $1 million when
Wow.
he sold it in the late 80s and moved to LA.
Wow.
Indoor pool, teak rooms, So I would just sit in the room, have a couple beers with the Mary Jane girls while he was, doing interviews with Jeannie Becker and stuff like that. So, and then I went down to Buffalo to see the Four Tops and the Temptations, and Rick was there because at that point he had done Standing on the Top with the Temptations. So it was just a cool hang. It's like, sorry, what happened with his life? It was 20 years ago that he passed.
Yeah, you know what? I hope he made a lot of money on the MC Hammer hit, You Can't Touch This.
That was the only Grammy he ever got. He never got a Rick James Grammy. He got it for You Can't Touch This by MC Hammer, his best R&B song, the only Grammy. Like, Street Songs did not win R&B Album of the Year. Like, that's unbelievable because this is one of the great R&B funk records ever made.
Yeah, without a doubt. And hearing it again in the headphones, it's like so much was borrowed or taken and sampled, whatever, by MC Hammer for his massive hit You Can't Touch This.
Yeah, but Rick got paid
right,
for that.
Yeah,
so.
no, I hope he made a lot of money because that.
Yeah, but we all know
where.
where it went, so unfortunately.
Unfortunately. And the Rick James, the story of him in the Yorkville scene and playing with Neil Young and all that is fascinating too.
Yeah, and I think it was Levon Helm when we first met him when he was Ricky Matthews. He was calling himself Ricky Matthews at that point. And I think it was Levon who was the conduit to everything that happened in the Yorkville scene. So
unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, look, the ongoing history of the Toronto music scene here with Cameron Carpenter. And so before I play the next jam, can you give us just a little more on your who else you were working with at Motown? And so how long are you working with Motown?
I took over, Larry moved to A&R in about 83 or 84, so he suggested I do it at Quality Records. So I was working with Stevie Wonder, was like around the time of In Square Circle, Lionel Richie, Hello, that era.
Of course.
The band I was probably closest to was the Commodores, Night Shift. Even though it wasn't the original Commodores, but some of them were there, but it was J.D. Nicholas was the new singer, and we had a huge hit with that. I actually went on stage on Ontario Place in front of 16,000 people, interrupted the show, premeditated, with a cordless mic, to stop the song. It's like, stop. It's like, everyone's looking like, who is this guy coming on stage? And I had gold records for them. So that was like a really cool moment.
Shout out to the Ontario Place Forum.
Yes. And then we did a record presentation in the back of Roots, the old coach house on Avenue Road, because that was their hangout bar. And Frankie Gay was in Toronto at that point, and songs about his brother, Marvin, Night Shift. So we have pictures with Frankie Gay giving them gold records as well. So,
okay, on Oversight, we covered a lot of ground. Again, I wrote in we talked quite a bit about MCA, BMG, Sony. Not enough about Motown.
And Motown straddled two labels too, because I worked Motown at Quality, and then when Motown got bought by MCA in '86, they asked if I would come with them to MCA. So that's how I ended up at MCA.
And now you know the rest of the story. And you won't be going to the Oasis show. I haven't even been drinking the Great Lakes. You won't be going to the Oasis show at Downsview Park in 2025.
Well, it depends on who the support acts are.
That's true. Okay.
I can always leave before the headliner. So.
I dare you to. I dare you to leave. I bet you would. You're the kind of guy. You would leave before Oasis hits the stage at Downsview Park.
They literally hit it at Virgin Fest when Noel got tackled. He hit the stage.
Right. Jeez. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's kick out the penultimate jam. This has been great. Let's kick it out.
Nothing
I love this song, Cameron.
I don't know how I discovered this. I read a lot of blogs. I do a new playlist every Friday morning on Spotify of 30 songs that I think I need to listen to. And I go to New Music Friday UK. And this is a duo who've been around since 2006 from Lancaster, England. Husband and wife, totally indie, no management, no label, no agent, put everything out on their own. Have a great sense of humor.
Yeah.
Iggy Pop loves them. Iggy did a song with them called I Moron. And they're just, I don't know, they just captured me the first time I heard them. I just love the sense of humor and the interplay between the two of them. All their records are great. They're actually, is their new album out today? No, that's the next band. So.
The next band. But the name of this duo is The Lovely Eggs.
The Lovely Eggs, yes.
Wild, no, because again, I was about to say people should be listening to this episode of Toronto Mike with the headphones on, but I think all Kick Out the Jams episodes are better with the headphones on. But this song, like, great in the headphones too.
Yeah.
And this song is called Nothing Everything.
Yeah.
So fucking trippy. Yeah, I know you don't swear. I got to swear a little bit on this one. I never heard of The Lovely Eggs, and I never knew this song, but instantly likable.
Excellent. Well, that was one of the reasons I picked some of this music and the next song as well. Just I have nothing to do with this band. I just like them. It's just like my style, and it's a little discovery for everyone else.
Sharing the love. Okay. I would actually like to ask you a question from the live stream. This is from Andrew. He also thinks this is a wicked jam.
Cool.
He makes you want to dance with Rye lyrics. Yeah, it's cool. He says, can you ask him of a time when he felt like he was sacrificing his own reputation for a talent? I'm interested in how you'll answer this one. Like, you can interpret that as you with, but maybe you're doing your job, supporting an act, and you don't think it necessarily reflects well on you that you are out pushing this particular act, maybe.
Well, I don't know. Like, I had to work with a lot of artists. I didn't particularly like their music, but I'd always try to find something in common with them or something to talk about in the car, be it football, be it... Like, Steve Earle's the best. Steve could talk about anything. But like Dave Matthews, all of a sudden we hit it off on something else. It might have been backgammon or something. So you just try to find a level with an artist. So, you know, when I was being paid to... work at a record company, I had to work, as I said, lots of artists I didn't necessarily like, but I just did it. That was my job. What
about assholes? Like, okay, fine, they're not your cup of tea, the music, and you find something to relate to them on. But what about, you must have had to represent some jerks.
Yeah, Vinnie Vincent. But the beautiful thing about working with Vinnie is he introduced me to Mark Slaughter and Dana Strum, who became Slaughter, who I worked with for years, and I'm still in touch with them. I see them every time they're in Toronto. I gave them a gold record in London, and I forget what year, when I was at a Chrysalis convention. So, yeah, Vinny was difficult to work with. He was just telling me how to, drive around my city, and, oh, by the way, get me a hairdryer for my hotel room and stuff like that. It's just like, please. I like these other two guys. I'll hang with them for the rest of my life. So.
Yeah, no go, Vinny.
Yeah.
Okay, that wondered how you were going to answer that one. Now, I want to tell you, this is a pro tip for you, Cameron. If you have we talked about your vinyl collection there. Maybe you don't want to move that again, but if you had any old electronics, old cables, old devices, don't throw it in the garbage. Go to recyclemyelectronics.ca, put in your postal code, and you can find a place near you to drop it off to be properly recycled so those chemicals don't end up in our landfill. recyclemyelectronics.ca. You got it?
Can I bring them here next time?
You can bring them here, and then I'll go to recyclemyelectronics.ca.
Okay, because I do have bins of old cords and radios.
You know what? I have an idea, and I got to talk to Cliff Hacking at EPRA, and they're behind recyclemyelectronics.ca. We're at the next Toronto Mike listener experience, and I'm hoping to have one late November or early December or mid-December, somewhere there at Palma's Kitchen, to have a bin where we collect these items, and then we can get them to a proper recyclemyelectronics.ca facility. So I'm working on that.
It's a great idea.
And you already shouted out Ridley Funeral Home earlier, but I do want you to know you do have that measuring tape from Ridley Funeral Home. And just yesterday, Brad Jones from Ridley Funeral Home dropped by. We recorded a new episode of Life's Undertaking, which is Brad's excellent podcast, and it was fascinating as always. So subscribe to Life's Undertaking from Ridley Funeral Home. I get to co-host that show, and it's great fun, so check that out. We only have one more jam to go, but before I kick it out, it's funny how certain like topics electrify the city in great debate, and one of them is this beach versus beaches thing, okay? So here's a question for you, and this is pointed out on the live stream. We never called it the Beach Jazz Festival. For 27 years or whatever, people have been going to the Beaches Jazz Festival. So Cameron Carpenter, how do you respond to that? Do they have it wrong at the Beaches Jazz Festival?
Yeah, because Lito wasn't born in the beach, so... I've been going to the Beaches Jazz Festival since it started as well, and I was there this year, so yeah.
And nobody's perfect.
Okay, you can't anymore, and there'll be actually the CFC picnics coming up next weekend. Norman Jewison called it the beach. Went to school with my dad at Malvern Collegiate. So.
And was on stage when I was getting my diploma, my degree from the University of Toronto at Convocation Hall. Norman Jewison shook my hand on the stage.
Fantastic.
And Ivan Reitman, who's also no longer with us, lots of shouts out to Ridley Funeral Home, but Ivan Reitman was the keynote speaker that day at Convocation Hall when I got my degree.
Wow. When my son got his degree at McGill, it was William Shatner.
That's pretty damn cool. And we're in year 3 now, so in another year and a half, I will also be at a convocation at McGill for my daughter.
It's a great school. My son had a great time, and he's now a senior copywriter at a great ad agency, and McGill did the world of wonders for his education. So
love to hear it. Michelle's having a great year 3. Just started last week. This week, what a blur. Okay, this has been a wild. Like this week feels like it's been a couple of weeks. Okay, so this is her first week, just winding down. Things are going well. Let's kick out your final jam.
Everybody thinks they look a bit like James Bond. Everybody thinks they look a bit like James Bond. Everybody thinks they look a bit like James Bond. James Bond ain't any kind of role model. I collect homebies and commemorative stamps, and there's something James Bond about that. I am gluten intolerant, and there's something James Bond about that. Everybody thinks they look a bit like James Bond. Everybody thinks they look a bit like James Bond. Everybody thinks they look a bit like James Bond. James Bond ain't any kind of role model. I buy duty-free cigarettes in Bond, like Bond. I drive a jet black.
Tell me, Cameron Carpenter, about the Bug Club. This song is called A Bit Like James Bond.
yeah, they're a Welsh duo, just like the Bug, or just like the Lovely Eggs. It's just 2 of them. Once again, just a sense of humor, funny lyrics. They just signed with Sub Pop. And once again, I have nothing to do with them, but their new album is out today on the Intricate Inner Workings of the System, is what it's called. And it'll probably be my upcoming X start to finish album, which I've been doing every day since COVID. I play it.
Well, how can people follow you on X? And I hate calling it X, okay? The app formerly known as Twitter. How do they follow you?
I think they're all different. I think it's Cambo59 on
Why do I think
Twitter.
It's CC?
Oh, it's CC59 on X.
CC59.
It's Cambo59 on Spotify, which I also do a different theme every day, an album cover, a set list, piece of swag, whatever. So
when I drop this episode, we're going to take a photo by the Toronto tree, and then I'm going to get your lasagna out of the freezer, and then we're going to take our photo, and then I'm going to make sure I tag you all over the place. So if people find my post, I'm at Toronto Mike almost everywhere, find my posts, you can then connect to Cameron and follow Cameron and find out what's going on in the Cam Carpenter universe. I can honestly tell you this is my first exposure to the Bug Club.
yeah, but just and once again, like male, female. There's a lot happening with women in rock right now. Like Wet Leg, The Beaches, The Damn Truth. I don't know if you know The Damn Truth from Montreal. They're playing next Friday at Redwood Theatre in the East End. But it's a female-led classic rock band writing all new material. And I always say if Swan Song had signed a band in the 70s from Canada, it would have been The Damn Truth, even though they weren't around. But just great classic rock. The Last Dinner Party, Cross Dog, great punk band led by a woman in Peterborough, Dead Pony, Thunder Queens, No Bro, Destroy Boys, Avalon Stones.
Wow, lots going on.
There's so much female rock right now. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And it's nice to see rock making a resurgence and the ladies you know.
Love it. And one of the many places I bumped into in the last few years was at the Rivoli for the Subversives documentary premiere, Simon Head's documentary about Lowest of the Low. You were
Yes, I was there, which is now available on Apple TV and YouTube. And your FOTM Jonathan Gross. Oh, you have a copy of it. You're doing better than
Gross,
I am.
I don't. This Simon gave me a copy. Jonathan Gross produced this DVD.
Yes. Fantastic.
Oh, that reminds me. Next week, are you going to the David Kynes, speaking of Munch Music and their 40th anniversary, are you going to be at the David Kynes Hollywood
The
Suite
Hollywood
Breakfast?
Suite, of course. That's one of my favorite TIFF events starting next Friday morning. That breakfast is gorgeous in the Crystal Ballroom at the King Edward. Yeah, fantastic.
So I plan to be there as well, and I was there last year, and I saw you there, and I believe, you're the guy who introduced me to Jonathan Gross?
I did. And the picture I put on X today is from that party because I had my suit on. And that's Ron Suter from Universal Films behind us in that picture, which I never noticed he photobombed that. And Ron used to work at MCA Records back in the day.
So when I see you at this event next week, you can introduce me to like future FOT. You can cherry pick who would be a good FOTM, because
Yes.
I met a few people that day that went on to become FOTMs, and one of them being Jonathan Gross. And you seem to have a good eye for talent, so let me know who I should be booking.
Oh, thank you. And speaking of films, I'm just going to...
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to PR segue this.
Go ahead.
I'm also working this year with Shorts Not Pants Film Festival in Toronto. I've been on the jury there for the last 5 or 6 years. Not the jury, just the selection committee, which is a great film festival, shortsnotpants.com, which will be at the Carlton Cinema on November 8th and 10th this year. We're just picking our final films now, so...
Well, thanks for doing this. I loved hearing you kick out the jams. I learned a great deal more about you. I'm going to see you next week.
Yes.
And I got to say, I appreciate you fighting the traffic and making your way all the way west to what I call the West End beaches.
It's worth it for the book, the pasta, the tape measure, the beer. It's well worth the trip to Acton.
It's worth the trip to Acton, home of the great Ross Weston. They named a laneway for him in Acton, Ontario.
No way.
Go
Good
to
for Ross.
Acton and you can find the Ross Weston laneway somewhere there.
Fantastic. Love Roz.
And that brings us to the end of our 1,543rd show. You can follow me on Twitter and Blue Sky. I'm all over the place, even on Instagram. I'm at Toronto Mike. Much love to all who made this possible. That's Great Lakes Brewery, Palma Pasta, RecycleMyElectronics.ca, Ridley Funeral Home, and for 2024, we say goodbye to the Toronto Maple Leafs baseball team. Hit me up at mike@torontomike.com if you're interested in opportunities that are now available. I'd love to talk to you. The last episode of the month will drop tomorrow. It is a very special, very thorough origin story of Much Music, which launches 40 years ago tomorrow. Check that out. See you all then.